what they won't tell you about the subway attack. This video is brought to you by Beating Black and Blue. Beating Black and Blue, being a black cop in America on the seas, my brand new book. I call it brand new because I just released it in less than a year in November. It's available on my store. You can get the copy like this, or you can get the signed copy from me. Both of those options are on the store. And also, use discount code United We Stand. One word, United We Stand, and you get 20% off the entire store. This is my thank you to all my YouTube audience. So if you watch me on YouTube, you'll have that code. So visit the Officer Tatum store. Link is in the description section. Like and subscribe to the channel. Download the podcast, the B. Tatum Show podcast, on all podcasting platforms. And y'all know I got a huge surprise for y'all, and y'all are going to be so excited, and God is really blessed. I'll let you know at a later date. So let's get into this. Ladies and gentlemen and ladies, what they will not tell you about the terrorist attack in New York City. I don't say terrorist attack, the attack on the subway. I don't know what the guy's deal was. I mean, obviously, if you looked at his social media, he hated white people. He wanted to take out the mayor. This guy was absolutely out of his mind, showing signs of violence. And the funny thing is that they can delete you if you have questions about whether you got the ouchie Fauci or the Fauci ouchie and all of the above. They'll delete you. You'll be on the FBI watch list if you show up at the school and say you demand that they stop teaching your kids that white kids are devils and black kids are victims. They'll have you on the FBI watch list. But this guy can be out here and be crazier than three left shoes on a four-legged man, and they don't do anything about it. So I'm going to play some updates, and we're going to talk about the gun laws in New York City and why these restrictions and these progressive policies put people more in danger than just about anything else in the world. So, roll the film.
Search for the man that police hope can provide answers into yesterday's mass shooting on the subway at 36th Street Station in Brooklyn.
Police have released these photos of Frank James. He is considered a person of interest in the investigation.
So, y'all, if y'all know him, if somebody know this guy, if you heard of this guy, please contact them so they can find this individual, because he's clearly deranged and out of control. He come to Arizona, he gonna get popped. But anywhere in these other states, they restrict all your rights. If you find him, make sure you report him to the police so they can come get this guy.
Let's get you up to date right now on what we know so far. Our live team coverage begins with Eyewitness News reporter Candace McCowan, who's live in Sunset Park. Candace?
Well, Ken, Charlene, what you heard from Debbie appears to be correct, that the train service is restored here at 36th and 4th this morning. Now, investigators are anxious to get their hands on that suspect. They've been pushing out his picture. They're also combing through social media posts that he's made to try and understand exactly what his motivation was. But take a look at this picture once again in case you spot him.
Criminal record. This is a mug shot. Criminal record. Probably longer than the Nile River. And he's out in the public terrorizing.
62-year-old Frank James from Wisconsin, who police are calling a person of interest this morning. They found his credit card and a key and a bag of items found at the scene and quickly linked him to this U-Haul that was rented in Philadelphia and then discovered miles from the scene of the shooting in Gravesend. Police believe that he parked that van, then jumped on a Manhattan-bound N train during yesterday morning's commute. Police say the suspect, wearing a gas mask, set off 2 smoke bombs before opening fire. Investigators now working to determine his next move.
At this time, we still do not know the suspect's motivation. Clearly, this individual boarded the train and was intent on violence. There are some postings possibly connected to our person of interest where he mentions homelessness, he mentions New York, and he does mention Mayor Adams. And as a result of that, in an abundance of caution, we're going to tighten the mayor's security detail.
All right, yeah, tighten the mayor's security detail, but they're not going to tighten the details of protecting you in the city. So I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna place the article in the comment section or the description section that shows you the gun laws in New York City. It's the most strict gun laws that I've ever heard of, and I'm gonna walk you through it just real quick. You have to show all kinds of proof and identifications and all kind of stuff to own a handgun or a rifle in New York City. They cry before God and say voting with an identification is racist and prejudice against black people. And just like you have a right to vote, you have a right to keep and bear arms. And that's the most, you got to show you got to show photos. You have to show driver's license. You have to show proof of residence. You have to show your original Social Security number. I mean, you got to go through hoops in order to buy a handgun. And you have to pay for a license, which costs over $400 for a handgun. And I think it's around $200 for a rifle. And in the city of New York, you can't even buy a rifle. And then if you get a handgun permit or a firearms permit, you have to tell them specifically. I mean, there's different permits for what you want to specifically do. You can get one that you can just have at your business. You can't take it away from your business. You can get one that you can have at your business and you can take it from point A to point B. You got all of these restrictive policies. And then also, you have to be interviewed. They need to know your intent, why you want the gun, when do you want to use the gun. I mean, this is absolutely out of control. With policies like this in place, you would imagine that this would be the safest place on planet Earth because no criminal could possibly have a firearm with all of these hoops you have to jump through, including the background investigation and things that they do countrywide. You would think not one criminal could ever get explosives and everything else like that. The guy shot over 30 rounds and his gun jammed, reportedly. They believe his gun jammed. That's the only reason why he didn't do more damage. But doesn't that speak to the point of saying, if he had a rifle, well, you can shoot the same amount of bullets if you have a handgun with a modified magazine in it, or you have what we call, ladies and gentlemen, multiple guns with multiple magazines. Think about it. If you have 15 rounds in a handgun, you get 2 handguns, you have 30 rounds. Or you get 1 handgun with 5 magazines of 15 rounds. Do the math, ladies and gentlemen. You have just as many rounds as you have in a rifle. High capacity. Okay, I get it. I get what you're saying. But to be honest, a gun is a gun, man. And a person that's not tactically inclined is not going to be as effective, but he can still hurt and damage people. And probably one of the reasons he didn't hurt more people is because when the fool put the smoke bombs out there, he probably couldn't see. But that just tells you that even his only approach wasn't a gun. He had explosives. He had, I think they said he had knives and all kind of stuff. And then on top of that, they have transit police and Mayor Eric Adams increased the number of transit police, which still don't stop people from pushing people and killing them in the transit system. You know, you cannot legislate morality. What you have to do in a situation like this is, I bet his track record is it is as long as a stretch limo. You have to hold these people accountable. Stop putting the criminals before the victims. Everybody's trying to look for a sweet way and a compassionate way to deal with these thugs. Listen, you do the crime, you do the time. If you're in prison, you can't commit crimes outside of prison. You chose to do violent crimes. I'm not talking, I mean, you actually choose to do any crime. But violent crimes, when you are assaulting police officers, I bet you that's in his record. You are assaulting police officers. You are using violence against people, threatening people, domestic violence, different things like this. You need to go to jail. It's not that hard. There's a lot of people I'll be wanting to fight sometimes, but as a functional person in society, you can't just hurt people because they make you mad. You have to, it's like when somebody does something, unless they're putting your life in danger, as a mature adult, you have to say, well, maybe that person made me upset, but that don't mean I'm going to go and act violence. Why? Because there's consequences to violence. And this is unnecessary and it's not worth the fallout to be violent against a person when you can avoid it. Why wouldn't you avoid it if you can? And reasonable people go down that path. But anyway, I just want to give you guys a quick update on this. They're not going to tell you the full story. They're not going to tell you the full truth. They're not going to indulge you with these things. And people like Mayor Adams is going to cry about gun laws and all this other stupid stuff that really does not work, in my opinion. I think embolden the people to protect themselves when police officers are not going to be there. What if people on a train, some people had firearms? Then this guy would have been combated. But everybody is sitting ducks. That's why these people go to these certain areas that they know nobody's going to be armed, and they enact violence because they're not going to be contested. And I would argue that he probably wanted to go out, you know, with a bang and you know, confront police officers and stuff like that. But I thank God that he wasn't able to do that. But anyway, I love you guys. Comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think about this particular situation. Make sure you get the book, Beating Black and Blue, Being a Black Cop in America on the Seas. We'll get it to you. We have these at the warehouse. We will ship them same day. I mean, we'll ship them same day. I don't know how long it'll take to get to you, depending on where you're at in the country. If you're in Arizona, you could get it within a day. If you're across the country, you can get it within 2 or 3 days. But we will put this in a package. We will put it in the mail, and they come and pick it up every day at about 4 our time, and we'll ship it to you. You ain't gonna have to wait. It's not processed. It's not gonna wait to be fulfilled. I say ship. It will be fulfilled same day. But I love you guys. Appreciate you. See you on the next one. I'm out.